Hello together and be welcome to our technical session today. Today we want to talk about Microsoft Fabric. Microsoft Fabric is a powerful platform for data engineer, data analytics, for data governance. And I just want to show you how to create your data warehouse and manage your data, generate report and analyze your data within Microsoft Fabric. Okay, to open the Microsoft Fabric, we just need to open our Azure platform and look here for Microsoft Fabric. So here you can now create a Fabric data source for the Fabric capacity, it's called. So you have to select create and you can create here a new resource group. I have already created one, so I will select the existing resource group. And here you need to enter the name of the resource, the Fabric capacity, the resource itself. Here I can give a name like yes, I'll call this GP. You can just enter a name here. I'll call it GP 602 because it's part of, okay, I give a name. And here for the capacity unit, that means the cost that the environment will be charged every month. It's like depending on the quality of the data or the capacity of your Fabric, there are different cost strategy here. And you realize that here beginning from $300 per month, you can have already an environment in the cloud. Here the biggest advantage is that you don't need to have your on-premise environment to build a data warehouse. And when we look on the possibilities we have here, the monthly cost, yes, you can, if I select here like the F2, then we have two unit for capacity here, and I've selected, then we will be charged every month. And here also we need the administrator of this Fabric capacity. And so if I hit here on create, we create here the environment. It will take a bit of time that our Fabric capacity needs to be created. Okay, now that our resource is created, we can click on go to resource to see the Fabric itself. Here, the biggest advantage to work in Azure is that all the resource that we are creating have the possibility to manage this resource here in our Azure platform. Like we can manage the access, yes, identity management, so we can decide who is the administrator, who are the members. We can assign some roles here to manage this our Fabric capacity. Yeah, but now I don't want to focus on the monitoring or of the administration of the Fabric itself. We just want to see how we can create a data warehouse inside of this Microsoft Fabric. For that, we need to open a URL here. It's called apps.fabric.microsoft.com and with the Fabric experience. When we open this link now, then we will come out here on the Microsoft Fabric platform itself. On this Microsoft Fabric platform, we have the possibility to create a workspace. Yes, just for us to come to an end in this training, in this session, I want to focus on a workspace, the place where we can create our data warehouse or our data lake. So when I create a workspace here, it's a space where we need to work on. Yes, I call this GTA workspace. And because our data or the content will reside in our Fabric, for this example, we will just keep here the Fabric capacity as the place where the data will reside. So inside of our Microsoft Fabric, we can create items and collaborate with other users or other features of the Microsoft Fabric, so that we can create like Power BI, we can have our data factory, data engineering, a real-time intelligence component. So using this Fabric capacity, and here we have to select in which resource it's created. And if I see here on apply, now workspace workspace is created. This workspace is actually empty. That means we have no data. The thing we have created now is we have created in the Azure environment the fabric capacity with the name DTA DP602. This is our fabric capacity. Inside of the fabric, we have now created a workspace. Yes, the workspace is called GTA workspace. And now inside of this workspace, we have the possibility to create different type of items. In this case, we see that there is a bunch of possibilities that we have here. We can create a data lake, a lake house, we can create a data warehouse. This is the focus of today. But when I create an empty data warehouse, so I need also to import or to generate my data in the data warehouse. So for this session, I will keep it simple by creating a warehouse with already existing samples data. So I select here and give the name here, GTA sample warehouse. Okay, warehouse. Okay, this is my warehouse that I'm creating now. The advantage I have here using the sample template is that when this warehouse will be generated automatically, Microsoft will also create some sample data sources, data table that I can just use, yes, to demonstrate some queries we can implement in this session. So it needs time to create. The warehouse is created, the tables are created. It needs time to be displayed here. Let us wait until it wrap up and the content will be available for us. So the next step now here is to wait. Okay, now that our warehouse is generated with the database, you can see here that the name of our warehouse is there, and we have the query part. That means if we want to write some queries, we see the query here, the shared query are empty, and in the data warehouse itself here, we have on the schema the database object, and the database object we have here the tables, and there are some tables that are already created, like the date, the geography, the trip. If I select here, for example, trip, this is already generated, yes, from this sample data warehouse. And that means we have already some data in these tables here, and that we can use. If I open here date, we see also that there are already data in it. Now, to demonstrate the capacity of the data warehouse, we just need here to go on query, and on query I can create a new SQL query, and in the new SQL query I can just type my query, and let us type down the query. We will give a short look on this query now to understand what we are expecting. Here in this query we select the month name, yes, but the month name is coming from the table D that we have described here, the date table. Yes, that means we have here on the table the date table with a join. We join the date table with the trip table. That means we have date table and trip table. The trip table has the abbreviation T and the date table D. So we collect the month of day, and we count the number of trips per month. Yes, and if I run now this query, we see the result here, so that we can have the total trip for every single month. Yes, and we have the revenue generated for this month. So here in this select query, we display 3 columns: the month's name, we have the total trip, and we have the total revenue. And we retrieve all these data based on a join generated from a connection between the date and the trip. Okay, so this is one query, and we see the result directly there. So we can run a new query. Now let us run a transact query. So for that, I have to come here on the query part, and I can select on query, new query. And here I will type a transact query. Okay, in this transact query, we make the same. We have a join between our date and the trip table, and we need now the day name, and we want to calculate the average of the trip duration in second. So we will display it as average duration, and we have here the average distance. That means we will display three values where we will calculate the trip duration in second. And if I run this query now, oh, there is a mistake in my procedure. Where is the mistake? Okay, we can see that when we run the script, we get the result here that we have here the day name, we have the average duration, and we have the average distance. And here also it is a join between the trip and the data table. And here the join condition is when that it is based on the date from the trip, date ID, and the date ID of the date table. And we group the result by date name so that the duration, you see the duration is calculated here by the date names. Yeah. Okay. This is simple demonstration of the transact. So we can make now a bit more complex code. As just to demonstrate some more examples, let me create a new query here. And in this new query, query 3, I can now write a bit more complex code. And now if we want to create a graph, so I can select here on new query and create a visual query. If I select here on visual query, on the visual query, I can just pick up my table, like the date table or trip, and put it here. And it generates the data based on this table. Now I can join with other tables, but so when I display this table here, you see that we have on the bottom, yes, the table is displayed there, and we can see here that this we can download it as an Excel, or we can visualize it, visualize the result. If I select on visualize the result, then Power BI front end will pop up and retrieve all the data from my data table. And now we can create a visual diagram based on the content of our table. So when we open this visualization, we have the data tab here, and here we can see the query and all the data that we have in this table. Yeah. Let us select, like here in our query, what can I select here? I select tax amount, and I select chip amount, and let me select some more tax value, and you see that the value are actually displayed on this diagram here. And I can make the diagram, now I can collapse the data, and we see here the filter, so I can also collapse it to make our data, the visibility of our table a little bit higher. Then I can focus on the modus here, so I can see the diagram, and I can also change, because here we are using actually the clustered column chart. Let me take, for example, the custom bar chart, and then we can just select different type of diagram that based on our decision. Yes, and at the end, I can save it, or I can edit some more here on the filter. I can make some configuration, but this is just a short example. I can now save this here as query one. I call it GTA, and save it in our workspace, because we are working on this GTA workspace. So if I save now this report on the workspace, no, oops, this is on my GTA workspace, because I have two workspaces here. When I click on save, so now what we have done in this session, we have created a fabric capacity in Azure, and we have opened the fabric platform, and we have created a warehouse. The warehouse we have created already contain some table as samples, and using the query, we have query some data here based on the table we have, creating a join. And then we have also visualize. We have create a visual query to visualize our data, and we can download now this information in as an Excel file, or we have just visualized the result in a Power BI table, and we have generate a report. Now, when we hit here on workspace and we open our workspace again here, you see the result, the component in our workspace. We have here our simple workspace that I select, and in this workspace we see again all the tables that we have here and the queries we have here. Yeah. Okay. Okay, one thing more that we can do, because we have here some data table, and we can display a relation between the table by opening the model layout, because in our warehouse here we have the query, but we have also the model layout. When I click here on model layout, then all the database will be represented here in a diagram, so we can see and or create a relational database defining the primary keys and see the relation between the different data table if we want. Yes. Okay, I think for today is enough, and best thanks to follow my channel. I think in the future I will make more demonstration here on data warehouse for data analysts and data scientists or AI developers. The factory capacity is a best place to start if you want to create a data warehouse and you don't need to have your on-premise environment set up, but you want just to work in the cloud. And we see that the cost average is affordable for small companies, for startups, also for big companies. If there are any questions concerning data engineering, you can set your questions here, or you can just make a contact to Share47. Best thanks again.